What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Money Matters. My name is Nev, and I am your humble host. In today's episode, we actually have something very special, unique, and exciting. We have a guest, that's right, and we're going to be talking about NFTs. Now, if you don't know what NFT stands for, you can stop now and research it, but let me just tell you, it stands for non-fungible token, but you've likely already heard about it. They have been hot for quite a few months, and new projects are coming every single hour, it seems like. Today's episode, Ty, also known as the Mayor on Twitter, will be joining us. Ty is the media community manager at Based Fish Mafia, which is an NFT project, and he's also a podcast host of NFT and Chill. All of the links are in the notes, so make sure you check them out. Without further ado, let's go on with the show. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode. Today with me, I have an incredible guest. I'm really excited to speak with Ty. So Ty, why don't you just go in and give a quick hello and just welcome everybody, and we'll get started. I'm super excited to talk to you about NFTs and crypto and all kinds of cool things.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. My name is Ty Greenfield. I go by the mayor on Twitter and in Discord and other circles. So, um, yeah, I'm excited to be on the show. I listen, and I'm always happy to help educate and you know bring awareness to crypto, the NFT space, and Web3.
Nice. All right. So let's, for some folks might recognize you, already know you. Some folks might be like brand new, like I don't know who this guy is. So, how did you get started in crypto and NFTs?
Well, I got into crypto through by way of the stock market a couple of years ago. And then last January, I was a part of the whole AMC and GameStop run up. And that's kind of when I transitioned into NFTs. Something popped up on in an email or something from OpenSea, and I went over there, checked it out, created an account, and yeah, the rest is kind of history there. So um, the NFT space seemed extremely interesting to me, and just the infinite number of applications that can be used with NFTs was exciting. So I pretty much kind of hovered in the background a little bit and just kind of watched everything go, and then I witnessed the whole Bored Ape thing happen, and that was pretty wild stuff. So I started buying some projects here and there, a few NFTs, and then I just kind of totally immersed myself in the whole NFT, decentralized. Everything was just very appealing to me because, paper money to me, it's, we lose our, at least here in the United States, we lose um, you know, our dollar becomes, I think, I can't remember the percentage, but it becomes less. What am I trying to say? Worth. I thought that absolutely love the concept of cryptocurrency, and yeah, I got involved very quickly, and I found Based Fish Mafia. I want to say in August when they released their collection, and I love the art. The artist, Mr. Calaby. I thought it was just very cool, and the whole mafia theme was awesome for me too, because I've always been very into the mafia as well. So it seemed like a good fit, and after about, I want to say, a month and a half of being in the project, they were looking for somebody to do their social media, and I signed on for that. Gave them my resume, and I started doing the socials, and then I became the community manager as well. And yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm full time in Web3 and the NFT space, and I also have a podcast myself called the NFT and Chill Podcast. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah, you're a very, very busy man. So yeah, I'm curious, what was like the first NFT project that like really drew you in to say like, I'm gonna trade my paper money and get this, as some people call it, a JPEG on steroids.
Yeah, JPEG on steroids. I like that. Honestly, the first project that really stuck out was Based Fish Mafia. I had dabbled in a few that I just flipped, in the early stages like May and um, April, but nothing really caught my eye and a project that I truly believed in before Base Fish. So, that's what you have to try and find is a project that you believe in. You believe in the message, you believe in the team, especially, and the community. Community is hopefully very strong as well, and there's people in there that you can vibe with.
So what was the thing about Bassfish Mafia? Because you were there for a little while, you were looking for things. What was the thing, aside from Mafia? Because that's kind of cool, and I know you guys do some stuff with, like, I mean, obviously the art is all around fish, which makes perfect sense. But what was it that kind of really drove you towards it? That you were like, this is the one I'm gonna actually, go like full time with this stuff.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I really connected with the team. I keep very strange hours. I haven't had a 9 to 5 in probably a long time. So, and their artist is overseas. So the only time he would be in the Discord would be like, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning here. So I had a chance to talk to him and Trial, the other co-founder, we had a lot in common with crypto and stuff like that. So, and then also a friend of mine who had got in before me, Poke Shaman is his tag on like Twitter and stuff. Um, he really enjoyed the whole thing. So, we all kind of vibe together, and the community really is what brought me in. I like, there was so many people in there that I consider friends, and we've met now in real life events. We just got back from Las Vegas, and we were in Miami in November for DecentralCon. So yeah, it's just, I guess, the all around vibe, perfect time, perfect place.
So going in, I mean, you started, right, like very strong interest going in, like full time crypto. How would you explain your experience thus far?
I mean, it suits me very well. I because before, like, I try and looked for things that I could. I don't do well with structure, I guess,
Okay.
or bosses for that matter. So, being able to be my own boss, have my own schedule. It's very rarely that I know the date. So, um, and the crypto NFT Web3 world that's very much how it is. There's no set times. I mean, because it's international. So you're dealing with people all over the world, and there's always somebody up doing something. And crypto never stops. It's not like the stock market where it closes. So it was something that I thought to myself, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to be, and this space is so new. It's like the Wild West. People are shaping it and carving out their corner in it. So I immersed myself in the space and just started speaking in Twitter spaces and just kind of building my social equity. Kind of building a brand for myself as well. So, and the podcast I started in December. We're about 8 episodes, not 9 episodes in now. And it hit the top 5% most popular podcasts globally. And that's like of all podcasts. I was kind of blown away by that. So, yeah, I'm excited by it. Podcasts. I just got reached out to become a contributor for Wendrop, which is a very cool platform and site for NFTs and Web3. So yeah, a lot of good stuff going on.
No, I mean, that's awesome. And by the way, congrats on the podcast success. That's absolutely amazing. So, very cool. I know you had some guests on your podcasts as well. What are some of the cool things you kind of learned? Because part of doing the podcast is obviously, audience learns, but we learn along the way as well and connect with some amazing folks.
And in this, in this space, it's so new. There is nobody is an expert, especially in the NFT like Web3 area. We don't even really know what Web3 is going to be. So it's hard for, if you hear somebody calling themselves an expert, that is a massive red flag. None of us know everything, so I try and learn something new every day about Web3 and the NFT space. So I guess that's been my favorite part. Trying to build a community and focus on community is huge, but I'm also learning along with the guests, and the listeners. I mean, we bounce stuff off each other, the guests and I, and then the listeners get to take everything in. We're telling a story. The mission of the podcast was to educate, bring awareness to what we have going on, and hopefully bring new people in, but also to kind of create a community and I'm telling my story, the guests are telling theirs, and it's kind of a whole thing. So some of the cool stuff I've learned, I get to learn about these apps that help you, track NFTs and all these tools. I had a guest on a couple weeks ago. His name was Philos. He's like an NFT researcher, and he told me about NFT Base, which is a mobile app, and it's an incredible app. I mean, the amount of tools, and like you can track any NFT project, you can track people's wallets, whales, buying, selling. It's awesome. So it's been a lot of stuff like that. I had Surge on last week, which is a women's led organization, and they're trying to educate women and kind of create a future for women in Web3. So yeah, constantly trying to learn and help everybody else learn as well.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing, and yeah, I mean I agree with you. Web3, nobody knows exactly where we are. I feel like it's internet all over again, but like super early stages, which with a much faster adoption and much more intricate pieces. And the part that I love about it most is this ability of creating all these like new careers and jobs. I mean, NFT researcher, like 10 years ago, like you wouldn't even have something like that, but people are actually creating real businesses, real jobs with things like this, which is beyond amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's the Wild West. It's the new frontier, I guess you could say. And if you can figure something out where there's a niche or a need, then you can create. It's up to you. I mean, individuals like ourselves, everyday individuals, are creating this and shaping this space. So it's not about the celebrities and the influencers. Some people give them, you know, attention and kind of follow their lead, but for the most part, it's everyday people like us that are coming up and kind of creating what's happening in the space, and I think that's incredible.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I mean I love what it's able to do for people. The amount of people that have been able to get themselves financially set, financially free, financially ridiculously wealthy, is mind-boggling of like how much is there, and it's creating an entire brand new economy, brand new world, brand new universe. And I agree with you that it's 24/7, 365. It never sleeps. It's completely decentralized and ability to connect with people from all over the world, all walks of life, because everybody's trying to better themselves somehow and connect with cool people that are like them. And this just kind of has really exploded. And I think that that's the reason why a lot of people really get into it. You might get into it for money, maybe, right? Because you were like, oh, if I can get this project, then I can make millions, and here's Lambo. But then you stay for the people and for the passion of the projects, and what all these things that are absolutely possible, because it's not just a JPEG. There's a whole lot more that goes behind it.
Yeah, definitely. That has been, you know, very cool, for me, because people are just in this space and they're creating, their own way. And Um, it's really been it's been exciting because you said you connect with people all over the world. Like, I talked to people in Singapore, Australia. We have a lot of people in Australia in the Based Fish Mafia Discord. The UK, everywhere. I mean, my podcast got to number 1 in Cyprus, and I don't even know where Cyprus is, but if they're listening, I love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Cyprus is amazing. So
Pumping out content for you.
yeah, I had a chance to go visit Cyprus 2017, something like that, and it was the coolest thing. I mean, they were pushing for crypto a lot, and I mean, obviously I've been watching it for quite a few years and been within it for quite a few years now. But the cool part for me was, I mean, I know a lot of people like Vegas. I'm not crazy about Vegas, but when people go into Vegas and like there's lights and stuff and you get all excited, that's kind of what Cyprus was for me, because here we are, we got to Limassol, and I am looking up and there's all these signs, and it's like there's like a big old glowing sign for Ethereum and for Litecoin, and I mean, I'm dating myself here clearly, but it was so cool because I'm like, I've never seen, like, I mean, I've seen it on the screen, but I've never seen it in like a physical world where there's a big old glowing sign of like some of the cryptocurrencies out there, but they definitely had it. So it was very cool to actually witness that. So congrats on that.
Yeah, it kind of blew me away. Like in the States, I think I hit 99. But everywhere else, it's been, like 40 in Canada. I hit the top 40 in Germany, in Italy, and, all these countries. And I'm like, what's going on back in the States? They're not enjoying the content as the rest of the world. But I think that's kind of the disconnect. You know, in the United States, it's very uncertain here, cryptocurrency and all that stuff. Other countries, some of them are pushing for it, like you said, hoping to make it maybe their state currency. So yeah, it's the future is uncertain, but I think it's exciting, and I'm along for the ride. I know a lot of other people are, but I believe, as ambassadors to the space, people who've been in for, even if you've been in for a week or two, but you believe in what's going on and you're here for the future, I think we're all ambassadors, and we should be creating a welcoming space for all people, all walks of life, so that it grows. I mean, that's the only way it can grow, is through education and, creating, you know, taking down the gatekeepers and trying to bring as many people in as we can so the space grows as a whole.
So I take it you're not a Bitcoin maxi then, no?
No, I am not a Bitcoin maxi whatsoever. I consider myself more of a Ethereum crusader. That's what somebody called me the other day in a Twitter space. So I love that, and I'll run with that all day.
Nice. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And there's a lot of amazing things. And don't get me wrong, Bitcoin has, to me, like all of these different cryptos and projects have their own place and space. And again, we're so early, we're just scratching surface. Who the heck knows? I mean, the space is developing so quickly. It's nearly impossible to keep up. And the moment you hear about like one project, like I remember NFTs, when they were sort of starting out, and everything was about pixelated. And then pixelated, kind of turned into like more of the polished look. And then from the polished look, we went into like the motion. And then now 3D is picking up, and voice and audio is starting to come in. And I mean, it's just layer upon layer, and the contracts themselves are getting much more efficient and effective, and right, like folks are like being very cautious and cognizant about like the gas fees and how do you optimize that and how do you improve the experience. So it's been very cool. And so like you said, everybody and nobody is an expert kind of thing. Like some people have a bit more knowledge, some people have a bit less, some people have more knowledge in one arena of it, because it really is creating its own ecosystem. It's not just this like one thing. It's really creating its own, like almost like a nation, if you would, with its all like beauties and complexities. So who knows what it's going to look like 5, 10, 20 years from now. I can't even imagine. I mean, I have some ideas, but who knows?
Yeah, that's a great point. It is very difficult to predict. We saw what happened with the market pullback and the war in Ukraine, but it seems to have stabilized. I know Ethereum's successful merge on Kiln's testnet really kind of invigorated Ethereum and kind of cryptocurrency as a whole. The bulls kind of circled back in, and it bounced off the resistance, which was really good to see, and I love that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of future in Ethereum, especially as these updates keep coming. So I was very pleased with how they're on schedule. The update for the switch to proof of stake went very well, and it looks like that will happen. The transition will happen in June. So good things are on the horizon. Just the news of a test going well. You know, look what it did with Ethereum's price action and everything else. So imagine what will happen when that actually goes through and the other updates come as well. My hope is that it'll surpass Bitcoin one day, just because the amount of utility and the stuff you can do with Ethereum, I think, is better as a whole. And the switch to proof of stake is going to bring the energy usage down 99.58%. So that's incredible. The carbon footprint thing, I hear about all the time, but even before the switch, it's still like 5 times less than Bitcoin. And if you're a credit card user, you add to the carbon footprint more than you do if you use Ethereum. So, and I can explain that. Credit card usage, the what it takes to like swipe your card and all the transactions and stuff takes more energy per year than the entire year of Ethereum's transactions and whatever Ethereum does. So I love when I hear somebody say, "Well, I don't use Ethereum because of the energy usage," and I'm like, "Well, do you have a debit card or a credit card?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Well, you're contributing to the demolition of our planet quicker than you would if you were using Ethereum." So there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of biases out there, and you have to sort through it, and you have to do your own research and come up with your own stuff and take everything with a grain of salt. So even what I'm saying right now, go check that out, and you'll see and make your own opinion of it.
No, yeah, I mean that's great. And the other part of the talking about credit cards, never mind the fees that you get charged and that the vendor gets charged. And I will assure you, as a business owner, they will not just take that hit. They will actually up the prices so that they can get their profit. So at the end of the day, it's really the consumers who A, contribute, B, pay more. And one thing you also said that I think is incredibly important for the audience, and that is if there are things over here that you're hearing that maybe you don't understand, like we talked about proof of stake, and you're like, I don't even know what that means. Research, pause the show right now, or at the end of it, like take down the notes, because the best way to learn is that when you get words that you don't understand, you don't know what it means, don't just dismiss it because you don't understand it. Like spend a little bit of time to learn about it and kind of get your different views and opinions, but then form your own view and opinion in order to move forward. And I think that goes for for this show and topic, but I think it's probably a prudent lesson for all of us for like everything in life.
100%. That is, you know, that's what I do. If I hear something that I don't know what it is, or if I don't understand something, I Google it. Or, when I started out in the NFT space, I watched so many YouTube videos. I mean, people, can knock that stuff because you shouldn't believe everything you hear or see on YouTube, but there's a lot of information on there. Like Whiteboard Crypto does very well at explaining everything about DAOs, NFTs, all that stuff. So, you take all that and you just keep cross referencing things. You Google stuff, you look in different sources, and you can get a better understanding of really anything. We have the entire world in our hand with our phones. So, um, never before in history could you do that. So I think, everybody is in a position to basically create their own way, especially in spaces like this. So, um, everybody should be doing that. I think trying to learn something new every day. That's what I tried to do. Especially when I first started, it was like, I'm still learning. I still learn every single day.
One of the things that the audience might look at you and listen to this conversation, and they might wonder, how do they get started? So, what advice would you give to individuals who are saying, this is really cool, this is really exciting, I want to get in, I want to go full time crypto? What advice would you give them?
That's a really great question. Now, if you are looking to get into the space and maybe carve out a place for you, maybe career wise or side hustle or some sort of income flow, the best thing you can do is learn, get in, do your research, keep an open mind, and ask questions. And your social equity in this space is massive. So, if you create a Twitter, if you have a Twitter, pay attention to your Twitter. Twitter is a very big in NFTs, in Web3, in crypto. You can create a space for yourself through your social accounts. So get on Twitter, create a Twitter, make it look nice. Put your bio and maybe get a cool NFT for your profile, and just start building relationships. Get involved with an NFT community. Buy an NFT, get into their Discord. Start cultivating relationships with people in the space. Join Twitter spaces. Listen to what people have going on and what people are saying and some of the influential people in the space. And then when you feel comfortable, get up and start speaking in these Twitter spaces. Start, voicing your opinions. Start creating your opinions for other people to hear and to take in. Try and come on some podcasts. But yeah, building relationships in this space is huge. Getting involved with NFT projects and in their communities is a great way too. You never know who you might meet. You never know what kind of opportunity that you can get from this. There's a lot of people in this space who have gotten careers from, talking with each other in a Twitter space and then connecting in the DMs and then building a relationship. That's just how it is. And I think anybody can come in and do that. That's what's amazing about it.
So what I hear you saying is, don't spam others on Twitter.
I say that's not good advice. No, people don't. People really respond to genuineness, if that's a word. It might be, but they respond to people being genuine. I find the most. That's so if you're out there spamming people, people connect. It's weird because it's like everybody, you'll hear people are hiding behind their JPEGs and everybody's anonymous, but that it's actually moved past the anonymous part. A lot of people are doxing themselves, which is, showing their faces and kind of their other social profiles. There's a lot of that going on, especially with creators in the space. And I have from day one, I was kind of like, I'd never understood the anonymous part, but just be genuine. That's the best advice I can give. Don't spam. anybody.
Agreed. So yeah, that's one of the fastest way to get yourself delisted and banned and just simply ignored.
Well, that's the thing. If you like a lot of these influencers and like these marketers, um, they spam everybody DMs. I can blow your project up in such and such days, or I can do this for you and whatever. And they're offering you something to where they're trying to get paid for it. And I'm like, I don't understand people who fall for that, but um, the stuff like that to me is ingenuine and it just doesn't go all that far in the space.
What advice would you give people if they are looking to get started with NFTs? They are complete noobs. They don't know what to do. Like what do you do? Do you just go out and buy everything under the sun? Like, how do you get involved? How do you get into the projects? How do you evaluate them? What would you give to the audience?
Yeah, you know, uh, it's if you're trying to get into the world of NFTs especially, um, there's a lot of hype and FOMO and all of that. And my advice is that this space is early and there's always going to be another opportunity, and just to take your time, never rush into something, because that's how a lot of people get scammed, for one. But there's always going to be another opportunity. So um, don't follow the hype, don't follow the FOMO. Look for an NFT project that you believe in. Do your research, find a team that you trust, and a strong community. And if you have to like the people in the community, and take that project and go on a journey with it for a few months, and create relationships and learn. That's kind of how I got in. And that's the best way to do it. You don't want to be in 15 different discords and all this stuff and like 15 projects. The best way is to find a couple and kind of immerse yourself in those in the beginning. So yeah, that's basically my advice. Take your time, ask questions, and double check everything so you can be safe.
One of the things that audience might be interested to get into, we talked about Based Fish Mafia, and so how do they get involved in that? Where do they go for that stuff? What is the best way for them to become part of the project if that's something they're looking to do?
Yeah, definitely. So Bassfish Mafia is the project that I'm involved in, and we have an incredible, dedicated docs team that has been working tirelessly since August, and we have an amazing community of individuals who are just incredible. And so you can find us on our Twitter, Bassfish Mafia. You can jump in our Discord. We're also on Instagram and Facebook as well. So we cover a lot of bases, but we'd love to have anybody join. And yeah, you can find us there. You can DM us on any of our socials. We answer the DMs as well, comments, stuff like that. So yeah, I'd love to have any of your listeners come in, and we're very big on education. So
And finally, just to kind of, as we're getting close to the close, where can people find you? What's the best way for them to get connected to you? Because they might be listening and saying, this guy is awesome. They want to connect with Ty. They want to connect with Mayor. So what's the best way for them to find you and connect with you?
yeah, so I'm on Twitter, Maverick Media 15. You can check me out there. Send me a DM, what have you. Give me a follow. I will follow you back. I'm very big on community there. And the NFT and Chill Podcast Instagram. We're also on Facebook as well. So yeah, check out my show. And yeah, that's basically the gist.
Hey, man, thanks so much for being on the show. Absolutely appreciate it. Chock full of information and a lot of educational pieces. So, really appreciate you being on the show. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for me and for my audience.
Listen, I really appreciate you having me. It was a true pleasure. So yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching again. Really appreciate you. If this is something that you are enjoying, the topic or this particular project that we talked about, make sure you let me know by subscribing and hitting the like button. All of those things are for free, but they're helping me and the channel a huge deal. And I've been wanting nothing more but to grow and reach out more people and help more people discover different projects and different ways of how they can make and preserve their wealth. Of course, one of the things that you might be interested about is NFTs and real estate and how that connects. Now, I've done a couple of the chats about it, but if that's of interest to you, make sure you check out House, where you can take your home and turn it into an NFT. Pretty cool stuff. Make sure you check it out. All right, y'all. Until next time, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away.